Hi there, my name is Mrs. Mossey, and I'm here today to teach you about clouds. We're going to start off reading a book, then we're going to learn about all different types of clouds, and then you're going to be creating your own masterpiece with your favorite cloud type. So, we better get started. The Cloud Book, Words and Pictures by Tommy DePaula. Almost any time you go outside and look up at the sky, you can see clouds. Clouds are little drops of water or ice hanging in the upper atmosphere high above the earth. And if you could hop on a bird and fly way up, you would see the whole earth covered with clouds. There are many different kinds of clouds. Some are high up, some are in the middle, and some are low down in the sky. The three main kinds are called cirrus, cumulus, and stratus clouds. You can tell them apart by the way they look and by where they are in the sky. Cirrus clouds are white and feathery, and they are the highest clouds. They are sometimes called mare's tails. Cumulus clouds are puffy and look like cauliflowers. They also have flat bottoms. They are always changing shape and are low down in the sky. This is a cloud. This is a cauliflower. Stratus clouds are low also. They look like wide blankets of gray and are sometimes called high fogs. Drizzle or snow flurries may fall from them. There are also many other kinds of clouds. They have longer names because they look like cirrus, cumulus, or stratus clouds mixed together in pairs. Cirrocumulus clouds are small, fleecy masses that are hard to see. They are very high up in the sky. Some people call them macro sky. The French call them moutons, which means sheep. Cirrostratus clouds are high up too. They cover the sky in thin, milky white sheets. When you look at the sun and moon through them, you can see a halo. Cirrostratus clouds are sometimes called bedsheet clouds. Altostratus and altocumulus clouds are found in the middle of the sky. Altostratus clouds look like sheets of gray or blue, and rain or snow may fall from them. Altocumulus clouds look like cirrocumulus clouds, but the puffs are much larger. They are gray or whitish, and if you walk underneath them, you might feel some drizzle or snow flurries. Nimbostratus, stratocumulus, and cumulonimbus clouds are low down in the sky. Steady rain or snow falls from nimbostratus clouds. They are easy to see because they are heavy and dark. Stratocumulus clouds look like rolls of blackish or bluish clouds, but they are not really rain clouds. They are often seen in the winter. Cumulonimbus clouds are the kind of clouds you see during a thunderstorm. They look like mountains of very tall cumulus clouds. Fog is a cloud made of water droplets that form at ground level. It can come right into your front yard, especially if you live on a mountain. Up in the mountains, people give special names to clouds. One is called the banner cloud. Another is called the boa cloud. This boa is not a cloud. It is a snake. In olden days, people looked at the clouds and saw things. The Native Americans saw thunderbirds in dark storm clouds. The ancient Greeks believed that Hermes, the messenger of the gods, who was also the wind, once stole the sun's cattle, which were clouds. And in Labrador, which is way up north, people believed that fog was caused by a white bear who drank too much water and burst. People saw giants, animals, ships, and castles in the clouds too. There are some sayings about clouds that help to tell about the weather. For farmers, when the fog goes up the mountain hoppin', then the rain comes down the mountain droppin'. For travelers, evening red and morning gray set the traveler on his way. Evening gray and morning red bring down rain upon his head. If there are large clouds in the morning, people sometimes say, in the morning mountains, in the evening fountains. And sailors know that mackerel scales and mare's tails make lofty ships carry low sails. There are funny sayings too. If people don't seem to know what they are doing, other people say, he's in a fog, or she has her head in the clouds. And now, here's a very silly cloud story. Da-da, turn the page. The cloud enters the room. The cloud fills the room. The cloud leaves the room. The room. So you see, clouds are fun, silly, and very interesting. Now we're going to talk about the science behind clouds. Ready? Let's go. Whoa! Well, here we are in the sky with lots of clouds. How did they get here? Why did they float? What are they made of? Well, it all starts back down here on Earth. Most of the Earth is covered with water. In the oceans, lakes, ponds, and rivers, even in the ground. When the sun heats up the water, it turns into invisible gas called water vapor. This process is called evaporation. When warm air rises from the ground, it carries the water vapor with it up into the sky. The higher it goes, the cooler the temperature gets until the water vapor turns back into tiny particles of liquid water. This process is called condensation. The tiny particles of water start to stick to microscopic pieces of dust up in the atmosphere and form water droplets. The water droplets start to collect together, and eventually there are so many water droplets that they form a cloud. A typical cloud can hold as much as 500 tons of water. They are all still light enough to float in the sky, but as they continue to combine and get bigger and bigger, they get too heavy and the water droplets begin to fall. If it is warmer, then it rains. If it is colder, then it snows. Sometimes it even sleets or hails. Any type of water falling back down to Earth is called precipitation. The water then collects back in the oceans, lakes, ponds, and rivers, even the ground, and the process starts all over again. This is called the water cycle. Next, we're going to learn about the different types of clouds. But first, let me get down from here. There are three major types of clouds: cumulus, stratus, and cirrus. Cumulus clouds look like puffy dome-shaped balls of cotton. These are low-level clouds. Their base is less than a mile above Earth. Cumulus clouds are only a few hundred yards thick and are usually separated by patches of clear blue sky. They often form because of local heating during a sunny summer day and disappear in the cooler temperatures of evening. Stratus clouds appear where there are no rising or falling air currents. These low-lying clouds form layers that are broad and thin, blanketing the sky and causing a gray day. Cirrus clouds are thin, wispy, high-level clouds formed of ice crystals. Cirrus clouds often develop 20 to 30 hours before a warm front and are a good forecaster of unsettled weather to come. These veil-like clouds are so thin, blue skies or bright stars show through. Well, boys and girls, I hope that you're excited and ready to choose your cloud type. Please turn to a partner and talk about which cloud you like the best and which one you are going to paint in the upcoming art project. Before we get started on your art project today, we're going to start talking about some fun art terms. Our first art term is landscape. A landscape is natural scenery, such as mountains, valleys, trees, rivers, and forests, especially where the subject is in a wide view. Similar to this that I'm wearing right now. This is a landscape picture. When you are creating your masterpiece, you are going to get a piece of paper. And when it is horizontal like this, we say it is landscape. And when we orientate it vertically, we say it is portrait. Next, so everything here is the foreground. All of the objects are largest because they're closest to you. So when you are creating your paintings, everything in the front or the foreground is largest. Here in the middle ground, this is where the horizon line is. And this is where objects are going to be kind of medium-sized, all along right here. Middle ground. Hey, I'm back here. I'm back in the background where all of the objects are really small because they're the farthest away from you. So when you're drawing, you want to make sure everything here in the background is small. Well, before we get started on your masterpieces, we're going to talk about a local contemporary artist. His name is Ed Mell, and he was born here in Phoenix, Arizona in 1942. He went off to college and moved to Los Angeles, California. After graduating, he went on to New York City, where he became an art director at an advertising firm. He then came back here to Arizona, where he is working today. Many of his beautiful works of art are at the Phoenix Art Museum, and you can see them for yourself. A really wonderful thing about Ed Mell is many of his beautiful landscape paintings include different types of clouds. We're going to be looking at 6 of his different works of art. To see stratus clouds, you can look at his art, Band of Clouds, and Distant Rain. To see cumulus clouds, you can look at Vermilion Cliffs and Arroyo. To see cirrus clouds, you can look at the Sonoran Twins and the Saguaro Horses. Well, I'm so excited for us to get started on your cloud masterpieces. Hopefully you've decided your type of cloud that you are going to draw. So let's get started. For our cloud landscape paintings today, the materials you will need are painter's tape, a watercolor set, watercolor paper, paintbrushes, a Sharpie, and water. We will start by using the painter's tape around the border of our watercolor paper to give our artwork a nice border and to hold our paper down so it's nice and flat as it dries. Once you have done that, next you will take your Sharpie. Always put the cap on the back so you don't lose it. Take your Sharpie and begin with the foreground. And this can just be a nice organic line. Doesn't have to be straight. All the way across from one side to the other, horizontally. Next, we're going to do a couple more fun lines here, just following it over, just to create some lines, some interest, and maybe one more. And we use Sharpies because Sharpies don't run when they get wet. Next, we're going to start with our mountainscape. you can just kind of come anywhere from the corner and just begin to come up with your mountains. Coming up all the way down. Start with another mountain, up, coming all the way over. Then you're going to want to put some more lines. That'll help you as you're adding different colors and also create some texture within your mountains to make them look a little rough. Coming down like this, a few down here, almost like it reminds us maybe of like when you look up at mountains when you're skiing and you kind of see the ski trails, or when you're looking up at the Sonoran Desert, the shadows that are created here. We want to add some different shadows and some elements of interest within our artwork. We could even add one here in the middle, just like this, and even another one here in the background coming off, or one right here. And some of our mountains are a little more pointy and some of them are a little more eroded down. Next, we are going to get our watercolors. Put your Sharpie away. Make sure you hear that click. Then we're going to start with the wider brush, and we're going to use some bigger brushes so we can get some nice coverage as we're doing this. So first you get your brush wet, click off the excess, and we're going to paint all of our bottom right here, our foreground. And I think I'm going to just use some of this nice red rose color here. And I am doing, oh gosh, isn't that beautiful the way it just comes across. And this is just, I'm just doing it dry on here. We're going to do wet on wet when we do our clouds at the top. But here we're just going to be going across with dry paper. And the really fun thing about watercolors when you're using it is you just need a little bit of paint, but a lot of water to create this beautiful kind of organic look. For my next shapes here, I think I'm going to kind of stick within the whole monochromatic family. Another shade of pink coming here a little bit lighter. Going just all the way across. One more color. Get a little bit of brown for this one. And don't worry about if your colors start to bleed into one another. That's the fun and the beauty of watercolors. You just want to give that soft, washed out look. A very soft, beautiful color scheme here. Right now we're going to start on our mountains. On our mountains, I'm going to do a little bit more browns, I think, for the mountains. And again, just going, this is a nice angled brush coming all the way up. Just moving your brush to the edges. And you could have yours, you could choose any colors you like for yours. It's your artwork. You are in charge. And look how beautiful when you're doing this, all these blooms that happen. And I think that's a really beautiful technique. Some people don't like that in their art, but I really enjoy it. Okay, now I'm going to come up with some more tans. Again, sticking to the same sort of color scheme. These are all warm colors here on my mountains. So they kind of blend together. And you can kind of have fun with it, experiment as you're creating this. Maybe make some fun lines going up and down. Add more water, add less water, and just you can go all the way to the edge of the tape, because with the tape, it's going to keep it secure and it won't get wet because this is painter's tape and it's protecting that part of your paper. Coming up here, this mountain, I kind of wish that was a little darker, so I can always go in with another color and just add that color and just see how they blend together, how these two colors marry. I think I'm going to add a little tiny bit of purple here. Just for fun here in the background. Purple Mountain's Majesty right there. And I'm going to do the one in the far back purple as well. Just experimenting. Is purple a warm or is purple a cool color? Purple is a cool color, so I'm going with the far background purple, but kind of here in the middle ground, sticking with the browns and a little bit of more warmer tones. And again, you can see how this is bleeding into it. Not to worry. It's the fun of watercolors, and the fun of experimenting. And even if you hardly have any paint, look how this is even just changing it just a little, but it still looks really beautiful. If you don't like some of these white coming through, you can just go over it, blend it together, just like that. Now we are going to move on to our clouds. So this is when you're going to get a more round brush. I feel works better with the clouds. Getting that wet. And this is when I'm going to be doing a lot of cool colors to create the clouds. You can see in this example that I did here that we didn't use the Sharpie because we want it to have this very soft feeling of the clouds. This example I did has more of a definite warmer and monochromatic feeling with the clouds. And then this one is a very cool example. Everything's cool colors, except I did do a little bit of pink here, a little bit of purple. And then this is more of a nice stratus cloud feature out here. All right, I'm going to be doing some cumulus clouds. So they're going to have that more puffy look and then flatter on the bottom. So just coming very softly, creating that look where they're a little more flat on the bottom. Create the next one here. Just kind of getting that very soft feeling of it. Putting just a little, just water without paint. All here, adding those. Here again, just water, not getting any more paint on my brush, just using this to work its way. Maybe I'll do a little different color, some more aqua in there. This is the same way. I'm going to bring my other example so we can see that. That's how it starts to come here. And we're going to do a little bit more of a wet on wet here. So I kind of talked about that. So we started here and got the paper wet. And now we're going to come in with a little bit more, just adding these fun different colors. So you're layering these colors to give more depth. Giving just a little bit more depth to your painting with all these different colors of blue. Kind of these wispy little marks just coming in, adding these fun wispy little details. And there's no wrong way to do this. You can create this however you like. Whatever feels good to you is what you want to be doing. Again, now I'm going to just add a little bit more water here. If you don't come out, you could then come back and kind of blend everything together with just some water. So you don't want it stark white. So you can just come in and just paint. Just getting water without any paint is a beautiful way to create your sky background. And if it starts to kind of come out like that, that's okay. It's a beautiful effect. Makes it look more like those clouds, the moutons, the sheep. All right, really pretty. So if you wanted to come back after everything had dried, you can even add more details if you wanted, or you can just leave it very simple like this. Okay, now's the fun part, the revealing of your watercolor cloud landscape. Okay, here we go. beautiful. So you can see it creates this really amazing border. I love the way this looks. I hope you had a great time today and are so happy with your cloud masterpiece. Thank you. Bye.